What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Untitled Skills, and in today's video we are bringing you guys some more news. I've been following a lot of the chatter going back between the community members and a few of the developers, and one developer in particular, Frederick Thailander, a developer over there at Massive, who's been going back and forth with the community members, and that's what I like to see. I like to see the engagement, and if you guys have been watching any of my last previous videos, I've done like this. I go back and forth between the community members and developers. And there was a really good question that says, are there any changes to making us pop armor kits on the move? And I know that's been a really big question from all of us, right? We want to know, is there any way to make it a little bit quicker? And Frederick comes back and says, we won't change it at the base level. Gaining health will either be something you can do on the move because there's something in your build that makes it so, or something that takes time and opportunity. So that kind of answers the question, will we ever get a really fast armor kit? Will we ever get that armor kit like in Division 1 where we had a med kit where we pop it and we get that burst heal? For now, it looks like that will never happen in the Division 2, yes. As I kept reading the comments, there was one from a user that says, does this mean armor regen will actually tick when in combat, or is that going to stay the same? Frederick comes back and says, it already does tick on combat. It just requires a few seconds of not taking any damage. It will now work without that delay. And that right there, work without a delay. Does that mean that armor regeneration will actually be a thing in the future? Because right now it feels like it's worthless to actually put that talent on your build, armor regeneration. It just doesn't seem like it's worth it. Someone did come back and say, can we remove this delay? And then Frederick confirms and says it will be removed, yes. So that means now while in combat, it seems if you do have some armor regeneration, you will slowly get those ticks back. Now I guess it depends on how much armor regeneration you have, and does it work with when you drop a heal. It's all things that we will find out in the future, and I can't wait to see how that pairs up armor regeneration with heals. You can actually see that being a talent that people are going to want to put on their builds in the future, knowing now that they realize that armor regeneration isn't worth anything right now. To correct it, make it worth where we can actually gain a little bit of armor back even when we're in combat is going to be something that I really feel that a lot of people are going to start adding into their builds. The next big change that I'd like to see is, someone did ask, is there going to be any type of SMG buff? Yes, they got a buff in TU6, but they still seem weak compared to ARs, LMGs. My vector hits for 22,000, but due to high armor, it makes it feel like I'm shooting marshmallows. Frederick comes back and says, that's because they have crit chance. Armor and LMG bonuses are currently multiplicative, so they are going to always be stronger. This is getting fixed. So it really looks like they realize that SMGs are underused, and if you try to use SMG now, you guys will realize that, yeah, it's decent, but at the end of the day, the ARs are probably going to be on the top, and then of course your LMGs if you're using any type of LMG build, because yeah, they just have better bonuses, and just SMGs that crit chance, even if you stack 60% crit chance, if you have high crit damage, it just feels like it's just not as strong as what you get out of an AR or what you get out of an LMG. And they noticed that, so it looks like we are going to get some really good changes for that in the future. And the next topic I want to dive right into is group synergy. I know I talked about it a little bit on my last video, but there was a comment on there that said gear sets in Division 1 had team synergy. You could cater each gear set to a specific role: healer, support, DPS. I feel these gear sets in Division 2 don't offer that flexibility, and most of them are pretty underwhelming. They fit a nice niche, but I have no interest in using them. Frederick comes back and says, I absolutely agree, which is why, spoilers, gear sets are part of the big upcoming revamp. That means, to me, what he meant by that is we might be getting a lot of new gear sets in the next new revamp, and I can't wait to see what they have in store. Waking up, reading this, man, this made my day right here. To know the possibility that we're going to have gear sets that actually have roles, and to know that the gear revamp is focused on group synergy, man, I'm loving this. Michael also wrote, myself and a group I played with are getting our hopes up. We missed that synergy of Division 1 so much. Bring back 4 verse server, please. And then Frederick confirms again, group synergies are a huge focus of the update. So it looks like this update, not title update 7 episode 3, remember that is the same update I would assume they're going to call it Title Update 8. That update right there with the gear updates is going to focus a lot on group synergy and create that intense action that we had in Division 1. Hopefully it comes true. Hopefully we'll have healer builds dropping heals for you, saving you at the last second. Maybe someone dropping a nice pulse that's going to help you pulse a little bit hard. I can't wait to see what they have in store for the new gear sets, but that is just something that I'm really excited about. Reading those comments, reading those answers from Frederick, that got me hyped about the future of the Division 2. Now, I know a lot of you are probably asking, well, what's going to happen to our old gear? And then there was a question on that. It says, Frederick, will you be able to go over how changes that are being made to gear will affect the gear we currently have during the stream on Wednesday? Frederick does come out and say, we will convert old gear to the new system. We're still working on how to do that exactly and how that conversion will work itself. So I'm not sure if they're really going to focus on the big overhaul gear changes on the next 3 State of the Games, because I know they do want to focus on Episode 3 Title Update 7. But we'll see. If we get any new information on that, I'll keep bringing it to you, because I know that's a big topic, and this is what everybody is really excited for, the huge gear overhaul and the big changes coming to the Division 2. Now, a topic that always comes up between PvE and PvP players is pretty much what this person said right here. You have said that the DZ is going to be a more dangerous, more scary, more PvP based. So I fear that it will become a pain for PvE players to farm in the DZ after the revamp. I surely know that the DZ isn't a proper place for PvE players, but we have to go there for better gears. Now, that's always a hot topic between PvE players and PvP players. Some PvE players want PvE only dark zones. PvP players says dark zones should be PvE and PvP. And Frederick believes that the dark zone is a place for that. He comes out and says, you don't have to go there. There's plenty of gear available for any and all PvE challenges to be had without ever stepping foot in the DZ. But if you absolutely have your heart set on min-maxing something that happens to drop in the DZ, sure, be ready to throw down. And I'm glad he said that, because at the end of the day, if you go in the dark zone, you should know that there's other players out there, right? Like, that's really what made Division 1 Dark Zone. Like, when you would go farming and you would find a God rolled gear set that you really wanted, you'd be like, oh, I gotta get this out, I have to get this out. And you would have to figure out what extraction you wanted to go to try to avoid being ganked by multiple players. And that's something that I feel like we really don't have on the Division 2, because a lot of the stuff you get, you can get in the open world. You never even have to really go into the dark zone, and I feel like the rolls aren't any better in the dark zone right now. And there should be some gear sets that roll a little bit better in the dark zone, and hopefully those gear sets are a little bit better for PvP, since the majority of the players that are in the dark zone are PvP focused. But in general, they should be gear sets that you can use in both PvE and PvP, just like in Division 1. And for the developers to come out and say something like that, that means that they know that the Division 2's Dark Zone isn't like the Division 1's Dark Zone. And to get it on that level, you need to bring gear sets that people want to go after. You need to make it a place where people are running into players, where players are dodging players to extract items. There has to be that reward and risk factor, right? Okay, I really want this item. It's really worth it. I need to go in the Dark Zone to farm. Now, there was another comment by Frederick who says, we're happy with gear that's good for PvP being available only in the Dark Zone. And yes, I would say that it will be harder if you're not good at PvP. And I love to hear this. I love to hear this, that he recognizes that the Dark Zone should be a place where you should get better gear that's PvP focused, right? And there should be gear that's exclusive to the DZ that's PvP focused, but it can be used not only in PvP but in PvE. But if you want that gear, you might have to go into the DZ and take a little whooping, right? Like you might have to go in there, practice a little bit, hopefully get your PvP builds together and learn to fight players a little bit better. You're not always going to fight top tier players, but every now and then you might take a little whooping, take your lickings, and then just try again. Remember, at the end of the day, the more you're in the DZ, the better you're going to get. But that's all the news I have for today. Hopefully we get some more news for the state of the game. Hey, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys go check out my Twitch. It's twitch.tv/nothingbuskills. It's a great place to catch me live streaming, ask me questions. If you're struggling with the division, if you need build tips, farming tips, any types of tips, and you want to get a one-on-one with me, the best way to catch me is live on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/nothingbuskills. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you guys head over there, hit the follow button, so when I do go live, you guys get notified. We're going to wrap up this video here. Thank you guys again for all the support, but until the next one, nothing but skills out.